Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So I have something really fun for you today and something different that I haven't done before. I had so many ideas that I wanted to make videos on, which is nice to have as a problem, that I decided to do a video that could cover a bunch of little ideas all at once. And I'm calling it Random Things Starseeds Should Know. So if you want an extended video on any one of these, and I've got a couple in mind that I would like to do full-length videos on, but I obviously would love your input on which of these little factoids is worthy of its own video. You know what I mean? So let me know, but we'll have some fun today, just kind of like racing through a bunch of little things that I wrote down. Again, just random things that I feel Starseeds should know. Maybe it'll be surprising, or maybe it just should be something that you really do know. You should know to, to kind of like ground your belief structures and your understanding of things. But before we jump into the video, I want to remind you to make sure that you're subscribed here on this channel for new videos every single Sunday. And I also want to encourage everyone to check out the membership group, the Starseed Academy membership group, because we are doing contests over there every single month now, and obviously live events, which we've always done, and the resource library is jam-packed. And there's a really beautiful community, and they're receiving also, I've been, offering them like special offers and special discounts and things like that as well. So they're pretty much the VIPs of the Starseed Academy world. And so head on over, there's a link in the description of this video where you can check out more about the membership group. So anything else I wanted to share? I think I'll leave it at that for now. And we can just jump right in if you guys are cool. If you need to pause this, go grab a warm drink and then come on back. Okay, I feel like I might also read these in a random order, or should I just read them the way that I wrote them down? I don't know. They really make no sense the way I wrote them down, but maybe that's the point of this video. That's what we'll do. We'll just be super random. Random order, random things, random factoids for Starseeds, just things that I've come across that I feel like are important for you to know, okay? All right, the first one is really important, and you've probably already heard me talk about this, but it's just super important for you to know. The first point is Gaia is on an ascension path, okay? Which means you are too. So basically, like, your soul has a circular journey. It's a cycle where we actually descend away from source to learn all of these lessons, coming all the way down to 3D, which is so low, which means you've descended down through like angelic realms. So this means you did like this parallel move, had a lifetime probably in some of the angelic realms until you calmed down, because it's pretty shocking to the system to suddenly be this personality in this individual. As soon as you got used to that, and you had lots of like incarnations as angels, you would have moved down a little bit. Ascended master realms, Arcturians, blue rays, those kinds of vibes. These are all just Milky Way beings that I'm naming though. And then you would have come down further even from that. And now we're looking at like, like Mantis 5, crystalline beings, Andromedans, and then so on and so on and so on. And you slowly descend through the dimensions all the way down to Earth. Okay, so you've descended, but because you are on Earth at this time, I can very safely say that you are on an ascension path now. So no matter how low you went in your path of learning, whether you just stopped at Earth and you've only had one turn on Earth, or you've had many Earth lifetimes, or even crazier, you've gone lower than Earth, which many people have, into these lower, darker, denser realms to gain incredible, incredible lessons. It's not a bad thing. Descension is not evil or negative. It's a natural soul journey for us to want to do that, to understand, to learn, to experience. Every realm has its own experiences. Here in the 3D, we have the 5 senses, right? It's all about like food and sleeping and sex and relationships and figuring out that you're a sovereign creator and all these crazy things. So every dimension, every lifetime has incredible lessons that you are learning. And I do have a video more about that. It's called Extreme Earth, and it actually talks about why we descend like that. Anyway, back to this factoid. Gaia is on an ascension path, which means you are too. Gaia is on an ascension path, and it is like so big like the literal heavens are moving to create this, that it cannot be stopped. And again, I have videos about this path of ascension that she is on. Check out the video, the Rise and Fall of Golden Civilizations, part 1, where I talk about the photon belt of light. Okay, so you probably heard me talk about that because I love to talk about that. Gaia is moving in her transit around Alcyone, which is a star, the main star of the Pleiadian system. Alcyone has around it this donut of light, which is called the photon belt of light, or the toroidic field. Basically, there's these light particles that our solar system, our sun too, our whole sun, our everything, Earth, the whole solar system, moves around Alcyone, and every 26,000 years does a complete cycle. But during that cycle, we go through these photon belts of light twice. It's a double cycle. Anyway, that can't be stopped, okay? So that means no reptilian force, no conspiracy theory, no dark agenda, government, dark agencies, new world orders. They cannot stop it, okay? So it can't be stopped. And I hope that that gives you like a little sigh of relief. What we're seeing now and experiencing now is actually just the purge effect, because as we enter into that belt, which is what we started to do at the end of 2012, at the end of the Mayan calendar, starting to slip into that photon belt of light. Think about what happened to you at the end of 2012, like the last couple of months, really intense time for me. That's when we started to enter into that belt of light. Once we started doing that, the purge began, and now it intensifies. And the further we move into the photon belt of light, the more intensely we purge the darkness, the corruption, all that has to come to light. That's why the world looks like it does in the last 2-3 years, even before that, I know, but really, especially since 2020, it's all just being purged. And we will get to a point where there's nothing left to purge. Think about when you're sick. You can only be sick so much until there's nothing left, but it feels the worst at the end, right? So it's like that dry, we're going to get to the dry heave soon. That should be like a spiritual term, the spiritual dry heave. And when we get to that, there'll be nothing left and things will start to calm and settle. And that's when the rebuild begins in the new earth. The reason why I think that factoid is super important, and they won't all be this long, there's some fun, cute, short ones in here, don't worry. But the reason why that one is so important is that tells you a lot of things. That tells you that you are on an ascension path. You have to be if you're on this planet. Gaia's taking everybody with her. You're on the planet. You're going with her. You can't not. And that means all of life on Earth, plants, animal kingdom. And again, the sun, our whole solar system, you, me, we going into that photon belt of light, whether you want to or not. You are going in the water. It's like when you go swimming, it's like dip a toe, but you're going to get in. We're going to make sure that you get in. So it can't be stopped is the 1 point. So that's the 2 points. You are on an ascension path. You know that now. It cannot be stopped. So don't worry. Just observe, be the sacred witness to the purge, and do what you can to help lead people out of paranoia and fear. Okay, next point. Sorry, that was long. Point 2 won't be. That's not true. Point 2 is a juicy one too, but this is a whole other topic now. Okay. Now, the second random thing that I think you should know is the members of your team, your spirit team, hold clues for you. What does that mean? Okay, so who's on your team? Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, animal guides, galactic guides, councils, your highest human self and other highest selves, your Akashic gatekeeper, more, but that's lots. All of those members on your team hold clues for you. So what kind of clues might they hold? Well, every single one of the people that I just mentioned is connected to you. They all have a special connection to you. They're friends, they're family. They've known you in other lifetimes, or they would not be assigned to you as your guide, right? So it's your ancestors, obviously your past loved ones, your past pets, but also the clues would be if you have an Arcturian guide, you can pretty much guarantee you've had an Arcturian lifetime, right? Because they're showing up as your guide in the form of how you would recognize them, or your soul would recognize them, right? How that would be familiar to your soul. So even if they've moved on and they're no longer in an Arcturian life, maybe they've also are descending down and they're in the Pleiades now, they'll probably show up as a guide for you as an Arcturian, because when you guys were together in a lifetime, you were both Arcturian. So that means you can look at the guides on your team and see your past lives, see your soul's history, your soul journey. right? So I have like one of my first guides that came forward was a unicorn, and I absolutely have had unicorn lifetimes. And I've actually had that confirmed so many times if I ever go and get like starseed readings or starseed markings in your birth chart, all that. Everyone says, oh yeah, one of your last lifetimes was unicorn in the unicorn constellations and all that. And it's so true for me. Okay, so what other things can they tell you? So also what the members of your team hold clues to is then your starseed origins. Like everybody's like, what are my starseed origins? Well, you don't have to look much further than your team. And if you want to look further than that, then just get an Akashic Records reading done, because your starseed origins are your other lifetimes. That's it. It's no more complicated than that. Past lives equals starseed origins, okay? And you might not like the term past lives, you might say parallel lives. Regardless, that is your starseed origins. So you can find your starseed origins by looking at the members in your team working with your Akashic gatekeeper. Okay, so basically there's lots of clues there for you. Your other lifetimes, the special connections that you have. They can also be clues about your soul gifts. If you have a ton of healers on your team, you're probably a healer archetype, and your starseed origins. There's probably lots more that your team can tell you, but we'll leave it there. Okay, point number 3, everyone has psychic gifts. I can't tell you how many times people ask me, would I be able to learn clairvoyance? Would I be able to learn this? Yes, they're built in, right? Psychic gifts are the clairs. Okay, so it's learning to speak the language of the clairs and then using them in fun and unique and different ways. That's all psychic gifts are. Channeling is just using the clairs. Actually, channeling relies heavily on claircognizance being in flow. Claircognizance and flow is pretty much channeling, but you do use some of the other clairs. But no matter what psychic gift you're doing, even if it's like foresight, prophecy, you're using your clairs always. So if you can learn to speak the language of the clairs, then you can do anything in my eyes. And everyone has those centers built in, okay? Clairvoyance is your third eye. Clairaudience is your ear chakras. Clairsentience is usually either in the heart or the solar plexus, depends on the person, but really strong empaths might be both. And then claircognizance is the crown chakra. And what ties it all together is your pineal gland. Deep at the center of your brain, you have a little gland called the pineal gland, and all of your clairs are anchored, or should be anchored to that, right? So your clairvoyance, your third eye clairvoyance, it would go like the energy of it would go back into your brain and like anchor around your pineal gland. Same with the ears, the crown, and the clairsentience would rise up. The pineal gland is like a translator in the human brain. It's a spiritual translator for us humans to understand metaphysical experiences and signs and what you're receiving. And if you don't have those things anchored to the pineal gland, then you might be receiving all these visions. You have no idea what they mean, because it's not attached to anything in your brain to help you translate it, which means your intuition is broken in a way. But everybody can heal that, right? Like in Psychic Light, I always do, that's how we start the courses, pineal gland healing, clearing, decalcification, and then anchoring all the psychic centers to it. Because I can't start working with people till I make sure that their psychic, their centers, their psychic, like I call it your psychic hub. The pineal gland's like your psychic hub. Anyway, that's just what I want everybody to know, that yes, you can. Everyone has psychic gifts. Everyone has the clairs. They're built in, just like your fingers. Okay. The next tip is also kind of a bigger one. 5D is not a place outside of you. So we're not traveling to 5D, which means you can't leave anybody behind. So watch out for those spiritual leaders that are inciting like a lot of fear, paranoia, or even ego when they're saying things like, oh, I feel bad for people that don't make it into 5D in time, or the people in your life that don't make it, they're not gonna be there anymore. Suddenly you'll just disappear or something, and you won't be there, and they'll wonder where you went. That's not true at all. Okay, like let me just tell you, I know that is not true at all. 5D is not a place outside of yourself. 5D is a level of growth that you achieve within. It's basically just returning back to love. When you reach a 5D frequency on the inside, your outer reality becomes 5D. Why? Because your inner environment creates your outer reality. Your outer reality is always just a mirror reflection of what's going on inside of you. So if you're having a lot of 3D things, That's you doing that. If you're having a lot of 4D energy, oh, you're on the rise, but now you're in those conspiracies. And then 5D is in that love and really starting to understand oneness. And then we go even higher. And I have a lot of things where we talk about 6D in my content, especially on Instagram. So the point here was 5D is not a place outside of you. It's a place within. Okay. It's a level of growth, healing. It's raising your frequency. It's an inside job, right? And then your outer reality is no more than just a reflection of your inner environment. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense and that that can alleviate, because again, I get a lot of messages saying like, what do I do if I'm afraid to go to 5D because I don't want to leave my spouse behind or my mother behind or my children behind? It's like, you're not going to go anywhere. We're all still, like right now, a lot of days I feel in 5 and even 6 dimensional frequencies, sometimes higher if I've been working with like a lot of super high seraphim angel realms or something. I'm in this super high vibe. I can go out to the grocery store and experience a reality that is extremely different than the person right beside me that's having a terrible day and is in a really even super low 3D vibe. We're on the same planet, but 2 different timelines, 2 different frequencies, living right alongside each other. That's why Earth is a school. That's why Earth has many classes, many levels, right up to advanced. Like, we're all here on the same planet. We're not going to go anywhere. There's no mothership that's going to come like suck us up, spaceship or something. We're here to stay. We're here to be the ground crew, which tells you something, being on the ground and rebuild from where we're at. Okay. Next one. This is a cool fact. Hybrids are everywhere. And I'm not just talking about human hybrids. I'm talking about like a lot of hybrids. So there is hybridization happening probably within your own spirit guides, definitely within a lot of people that I have seen. I have, worked with beings that are Lyran Pleiadian crosses. For some reason, I seem to see those hybrids actually quite a lot. So a Lyran and a Pleiadian, so like a feline being and then like a Pleiadian, having a hybrid. So that means, it could mean a lot of things, right? It depends on how you want to look at this. To me, I feel like it means that there is, I know that there's a lot of interaction in those 2 societies because they've been through a lot together, a lot of galactic wars, and Pleiades, especially Meropa, really like took in a lot of Lyrans when they lost one of their planets in the Lyran Wars. So there's like a lot of like interbreeding, which is actually beautiful. It's like a love story. It's just like here on Earth when we have mixed races that have beautiful children, and aren't they just so special and gifted and talented? It's just like that. So I just want you to know it's not so clean and cut. Okay. So if you see a guide that looks a little different, another example is I saw myself in a lifetime. I was doing a soul retrieval. I actually have a series here on YouTube all about it. It's called My Orion Life, and it's like 3 video series, 3 parts. And in that, I was part blue avian and part like peacock avian. My father was this blue avian and my mother was this peacock being. And I was this interesting looking mix between the 2. So I just want you to know that it happens a lot out there in our Milky Way. Okay. So which just makes things even more interesting. So like if you have a spirit guide and you're trying to like Google what they are and it's not coming up, maybe it's a hybrid. Okay. The next point is, this is a really good one. As your frequency rises, okay, which we are on an ascension path because of Gaia. So whether you're doing anything or not, it's going to be rising. As your frequency rises, the people, places, and things that used to lift you up will begin to pull you down. I experienced this when I used to smoke weed. Okay. So it used to help me a lot. It helped me with my anxiety. It really like lifted me up because I was in this like racing thoughts place, pretty anxious a lot of the time. I really suffered from PTSD, and I would smoke pot and everything would get quiet. And then I was actually able to hear my guides. So I thought it helped me be more present, connect with my guides, feel calm, feel at peace. It did those things for me. But then there was this point, like maybe a year or something into it, where all of a sudden it had the opposite effect. I would smoke it and I would be like, wow, why isn't it magical anymore? Why does it make me so tired? Why do I feel like it creates anxiety and racing thoughts? It used to do the opposite. It was so confusing to understand. But the thing is, marijuana resonates around like a 400 frequency, which is fairly neutral. And if I was in like a low place of anxiety, like, you know, in around, I don't know, maybe 300, something around there, and I smoked a 400, everything can be measured in frequency, okay? It smoked something higher, it brought me up, brought me up, brought me up every time. But then I outgrew it. And I'm in like maybe the 500 hertz of love. And then I smoke something that's just neutral and it brings me down, brings me down, brings me down, right? So that's why things that you used to love aren't working for you anymore. So this could be like for me, like weed, wine, alcohol, whatever, all of those kinds of things, but also entertainment. I used to love the show The Magicians, loved it, watched it all the time. Now, when I try to watch it, it's a very dark to me. It makes me very uncomfortable. It feels very dark and eerie. In fact, I stopped. I was going to rewatch it, got partway through, and me and Brian both were like, this doesn't feel good. Like, and it used to be so great. It's like, I don't even want to watch this anymore. Every time, you know, I finish an episode, I feel worse than when I started it. So really keep your eye on music, shows, entertainment, substances, food, habits, friends. You gotta be really on. That's a hard one. Oh, that was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do. Like letting go of people that, you know, just like bring you down. Every time you hang out with them, you feel low, you feel worse about yourself, you feel tired, drained. It's a huge sign. Okay. So the next point. Oh, this is a fun one. Having pets, plants, music, crystals in your home brings life force in. Okay, so to bring life force into your home, you want to have pets if you can, plants, lots of plants. I have tons of plants, crystals, obviously, and high vibrational music. So there's some really great playlists on Spotify. There's ancient Egyptian playlist. There's Lemurian playlist. There's one that's just meditation music, which I love. There's a lot of really high vibe stuff on Spotify, or I mean, whatever you use. Just having that going in the background brings life force into your home, has the raising the frequency into your home. It's also really important to have fresh air in your home. So that can be hard. Like right now, it's really, really hot in the summer. And so we have all the air conditioners on. So that can be difficult, or vice versa in the winter. But if you notice that you are feeling tired a lot, or you're getting sick, or the energy feels stagnant, take a half an hour and open all the windows and just deal with it. Like turn off the heat for that point, and then and even maybe do some saging, clearing out your home, and the fresh air will really bring in the life force as well. So again, but things that you can do that, you know, if it's hard to open the windows or you don't have windows where you live, is get plants inside. You want plants inside, lots of crystals, big crystals, right? Like ones that are big and do something. I don't like a lot of little crystals littering. It feels like clutter to me. I like big pieces, just kind of like strategically placed around that feel like display pieces. Okay, next point, random things that I think Starseeds should know. You are multidimensional and you represent many star nations. So there's so many people out there that are like, I'm Pleiadian. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But don't discount the rest of your heritage, because you're so much more than that. You probably feel so connected to the Pleiades because the Pleiades is probably the last life that you had. Remember when we talked about how you descend down? Well, the Pleiades was probably most of our last lives, if not an Earth lifetime, but you know, the last galactic lifetime, because the Pleiadians are like sixth kind of frequency. Some people say 5 to 6. I think they're a little higher than 5. I think it's more like 6, so maybe even a little bit of 7th dimensional frequency in there. There's more than one frequency per society. Like look at humanity. We've got 3rd, 4th, 5th, and coming up into 6. So the Pleiadians also probably resonate themselves at 5, 6, 7, right? At least a few. What was I talking about? That you're multidimensional and that you represent many star nations. So it's okay to feel attached to something like, you know, me and Orion. Oh my goodness. But you're more than that. And so I like to stay really open because I really love to honor my unicorn heritage, my Pleiadian heritage, my Orion heritage, which is that avian being that I was, which is, you know, blue avians. I have Blu-ray Lifetime that I feel really connected to. Like there's just so much, and there's no reason to limit yourself at all. It's really good to stay open. And the reason too why it's important to understand and honor the multidimensionality that you have is that you're here to represent all of those star nations on Earth. You're a representative of so many places here on Earth, and that is something to be proud of. Like, you know, you're literally an ambassador of so many, like your soul is this ambassador for probably like so many places, maybe even outside the Milky Way. So just never discount the fact that you are truly multidimensional. And don't get too like egoically attached to the identity of one. Right? Like I'm the I always say this, but like I'm the Pleiadian commander of the Fifth Reich, dear ones. Don't do that. That's so ungrounded. Like don't be ungrounded as fuck. You need to be a grounded starseed so you don't make us all look bad. You're not a Pleiadian commander of the Fifth Reich. You're just not. You're not an angel. You had a lifetime in your soul, and it remembers. Your soul's very like very credible memories in there that is who you were, or maybe are in a parallel timeline. But right now you're human just like the rest of us, and being human is cool. So honor the human experience. I actually don't think starseeds realize how cool it is to be human, and that we have so many different star nations looking down at us like that's friggin' awesome. Like look at them. They're physical beings, but they're able to astral project. They have these amazing five senses, but then they've got the clair senses as well. It's like the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. Not to mention, Earth is very well known around not just our galaxy, but many galaxies as a very difficult, very advanced, very like a school for like the old souls, the warrior, the light warriors, it's like it's got a reputation as being like, oh, Earth, what about Earth? And everybody's ears perk up. Like there's so much interest in Earth and humanity because we are cool. So just honor where you're at, because you're going to be looking back on this lifetime when you're Pleiadian going and saying to your Pleiadian friends, like, I'm a human this or human that. And they're going to go, you were, but you're not anymore. Just like we're saying to you about being Pleiadian. So honor where you're at so that you can truly just soak up the experience that you're having, because you're going to look back on it and miss it. You're going to, miss it and have really beautiful memories about it. Okay. Next point, the Galactic Federation of Light, which is kind of funny because I'm wearing that shirt today. The GFL is made up of many different councils that serve the Milky Way. So the Galactic Federation of Light is not one thing. It's not one council. It is a larger like umbrella of many little councils of light. So Pleiadian Council of Light, Council for Humanity, the Arcturian Council, like all of these different councils that agreed to come together and work together under this umbrella of GFL, because we can get more done when we work together. So instead of the Arcturians, we over here having their council and Pleiadians over here having their council, everybody kind of came together and said, let's work together. We're all, these are benevolent beings that are all wanting the same thing, which is balancing out the light and the darkness in every place in the universe and restoring free will where it has been taken. That's a lot of their main goals, especially when it comes to Earth. Those are the two things that we need the most. So the GFL is made up of many different councils that serve the Milky Way. They don't serve any other galaxy. And people think that they're like universal. They're not. The Galactic Federation of Light is for the Milky Way. There are other federations for the other galaxies, and the main the main federation or the main council of light is at the Grand Central Sun. That's the hub of the universe, not the GFL. They're actually kind of small. The Grand Central Sun, the council of the Grand Central Sun, would be like the be all end all of all universes, or at least our universe. I don't know about all universes. So that's just really interesting to kind of put into perspective. Okay, Grand Central Sun's the hub of our universe, the center of all the galaxies of our single universe, Grand Central Sun. That would be the be-all, end-all council or federation, whatever it would be there. The Galactic Federation of Light is a smaller thing just for the Milky Way. Okay, next point. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but not a lot. Okay. Spiritual leaders and teachers that make things extra complicated a lot of the time are coming from ego. So I will just have a little scroll scroll on Instagram, and I will read the most ridiculous captions, like, we are entering into the portal of the 8-8. It's not a portal. Maybe that should have been a point I wrote down. It's not a portal. Okay. It's a vortex, but okay. And we are, purging from our systems the, oh my God, I can't even think of the words, what it was. It was like all the program of the this and this and that. And, I should just pull it up and read it to you, but I don't want to call anybody out. But it's like when somebody is going really overboard and making things extra, extra complicated, a lot of the time that's actually ego coming through. Because the truth is, though we live in a complex universe, when we speak, when we truly channel, and I think you'll just listen to this. This is going to make sense. If you truly channel spirit, God source, or angels, or some of your guides, they simplify everything. That's how you know. They try to make things super simple when it comes out. And that is like the way to keep the clarity in the message. And so some really beautiful channelers like Lori Ladd and Erin Dowdy, and there's not a whole lot, Elizabeth April maybe, whoever you like, me, when they channel, they take really complex things and they deliver them simply and in a grounded way. That's a grounded teacher, okay? And that is like what is really beautiful feedback that I get all the time is people say to me, wow, you make really weird, crazy, complicated things so easy to grasp. That's the point. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So if you're just running into, like, I just saw recently this page on Instagram, but I've seen it a lot of the people doing this, big accounts too, like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're going on and on and on about all these ridiculous random concepts and programs that we need to remove. And the one that I was talking about before, how 5D, is a place, and we're going to leave behind all these people. It's like, honestly, it just makes me just want to roll my eyes. It is not coming from an authentic, soulful place. It's coming from an ego place. Another thing on the same note is spiritual leaders or teachers that are coming from a place of paranoia or fear. Their message is tainted. Okay, so this is all about discernment. And that is like the easiest way for me, and maybe for a lot of people, to decide whether or not to follow someone, or to continue to follow someone, or to invest with somebody, is look at their message, really listen to what they're saying and read their stuff, and think to yourself, is that coming from paranoia? Is there paranoia in there? Is there fear frequency in there? There is in a lot of people's, a lot. And if that's the case, I won't have anything to do with it. Because that's not truth. That's not the truth. God source has nothing to do with fear frequency. It's like, that's so 4D. Like, that's literally 4D, even 3D. So that's, their whole message is now tainted with a lower frequency. Even if they have good intentions, they have something within that they haven't healed yet. If they're overly complicating things and all these big, grand, like, words and concepts, or if there's paranoia in there, keep scrolling. Okay. The next point is, this is such an interesting one. We are aligned right now to the ancient Egyptian frequency. So what I mean by that is, okay, how can I describe this simply? So Earth is on a circular cycle, just like your soul is. Okay, so your soul has a soul journey. It's a circle. Earth has a journey. It's a circle. When Earth was descending, okay, so say the golden era at the very top right here is Lemuria, okay? So just imagine that this is a whole circle, but I need to point. We're at Lemuria at the top. We start to descend, and we go down to Atlantis, okay? That was a descension path. Descends a little further. Now we're in ancient Egypt. That was like the fall of a golden era. We went from Lemuria to Atlantis, to ancient Egypt, and then even lower, 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 until we got to like a dark ages. We're on the ascension path now. So we're on the other side. We've come up to a place where we're now in alignment with the ancient Egyptian frequency. So if you did like a line right across, ancient Egyptian, which means the next notch when we rise up would be like an Atlantean frequency, which means for us that in the Atlantean frequency, when we click in with that frequency, that means there's going to be a lot of technology, new technology, because, you know, Atlantis was all about crystal cities, AI, hybridizations, powerful technologies, like a lot of that. But because they were on a descension path, it didn't really stay in the light, and it started getting into this weird greed for like power and money and all of those things. And there's more. Again, that video, The Rise and Fall of the Golden Eras, that's a two-parter, but oh my God, it's so good. Okay. So anyway, so we're in an ancient Egyptian frequency right now. So what does that mean? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's like there's so much light language and soul language, and the divine feminine priestess rising. There was a powerful time for the divine feminine with Isis and Hathor and like ancient Egyptian priestesses, really, like they were revered, like Cleopatra. Like that's why you're seeing a lot of women like rewilding themselves and getting into that beautiful frequency of power, taking back our power and recognizing that we are like pure magic, and the divine. But again, ancient Egypt was on a descension path, so that all led to bad things. But since we're on an ascension path, we're going to see, that was like the dark side of Egypt on the way down. We get to see the light side of Egypt on the way up. Now, I'm not saying it'll be exactly like Egypt and all of a sudden we'll start building pyramids. I'm just saying the frequency is the same. So because of this, you might feel extra connected to Egypt right now. And a lot of people that are coming to me for Akashic readings, it's coming up. Egyptian lifetimes are coming up, things that need to be cleared from Egypt, because we're like in this alignment to that frequency. So if you feel really connected to that, if that's coming up for you a lot in whatever ways that might be, with a guide, a past life, I don't know, whatever, soul gifts maybe that you had in Egypt, whatever it is, that's why. Okay, that's why that super connection is happening. Moving on. Ooh, another good one. Victim mentality is the biggest sleeping pill that exists. And yet so many people just keep dosing and dosing and dosing, right? You will never empower yourself. You will never take control of your life. You will never step into your sovereign creator blueprint, template, whatever you want to call it. Victim mentality is going to keep you plugged in. It's a sleeping pill. It's like you might start to awaken and then you act with victim mentality. It's like taking a sleeping pill and you go right back out again. It's like, why do you keep doing that to yourself? So if you are playing in the energies of victim mentality in any way, even in the smallest way, you're keeping yourself down. You're only hurting yourself. You continue to put yourself back to sleep, knock yourself out. It's very harmful and it sets you back. Okay, so in whatever ways that you can get away from people that are projecting victim mentality out, and not do it yourself, which when it's a habit, maybe it's, you know, can be a little bit harder to break, but it's like something that you have to become very aware of and stop doing. It's actually like the first thing you have to stop doing for an awakening is like take radical responsibility for your entire life and understand that your inner environment creates the outer reality. That's it. That's as simple as it is. And if it's not that, if it's hard things that happen to you, like I had a really difficult childhood, so I'm not taking away from anybody any trauma that they've been through by saying that, because the fact is that you probably also had a lot of soul contracts in place to experience those things. And so we have to just take radical responsibility, even when we don't understand exactly why things have happened in our life. We have to just understand that in some way it was for us to experience, whether it was rebalancing karma or so that we could hit rock bottom and have an awakening, or to learn through contrast. I do think it's important to take responsibility, especially for your current reality, right? So victim mentality, the biggest sleeping pill. Okay, let's move on. The next point here, reptilians and draconians are not all bad news. That would be like saying all humans are evil. Is it true? No, because I'm not evil, you're not evil. But a lot of them are, aren't they? And we know that evil exists. Evil acts especially exist. And so are a lot of draconians or reptilians, you know, do they have a bad rep for a reason? Yes, absolutely. There's a ton of them out there that are selfish, service to self, and trying to take away from others for their own gain, like taking people's free will through manipulation. Yes. Yes, that's all real. It's absolutely real. However, it's just important not to stereotype an entire species, right? Because that's like, I mean, what's the galactic version of racism? Like speciesism? Like, you can't do that, because not all Pleiadians are like golden and sunshine, and not all reptilians are evil and selfish. And you need to just learn how to use discernment. You need to, again, learn to speak the language of the clairs, so that you can clairsentiently tune in and make sure that whomever you're working with, use your sacred space, call on Archangel Michael, make sure you're connected to God source, set a very strong intention. I never do things without a sacred space, no matter what. So I can't get tricked or caught up in any kind of darkness. The sacred space is like foolproof if you do it right. And I've taught sacred space a lot on this channel, so I'm sure you already know what that is. But anyway, it's just important not to be a speciesist, like a racist of galactic species. Because, not all this is good and not all this is bad. It's about the soul within, always. It is always about the soul within. There are reptilians on an ascension path. It might not be as many, but there is a reptilian council of light. There's very good draconians and reptilians out there, and there's very bad ones too, right? Okay. Awesome. Moving on. The goal of what? I just wrote the goal is, okay, so maybe just like the goal of the larger soul journey, maybe not of Earth, but like bigger than that, think bigger. The goal is balance. Okay. So the reason why is your shadows are as equally important as your light. You need both. Because true enlightenment, true unity consciousness, true oneness is everything but in balance. And so God or source or whatever term you prefer for that being is not all love and light. It's not. It's everything that exists in harmonic balance, right? So that would be the goal then, is not to eradicate the darkness on Earth or to, have an ego death, kill off your ego. That's not it. Those are not teachings that are based in love. Those are teachings that are based in that fear and that paranoia energy. The truth is, you need all that. We need the darkness and the shadows. We need the ego. What we don't want is it like overrunning the light and being out of balance. Okay, now we've got a problem and we're here to create balance. Many of us, if you feel like you're an awakening soul, chances are you're here on a mission, and that mission is to create balance and to restore the free will and to inform about all of these kinds of things. Okay, so the goal is not to eradicate egos or darkness or shadows or kill anything. It's about balance and harmony. So how can you integrate, accept, and work with what you are, and release the density and the heaviness of the trauma, but keep the experience, for everything, and that would really help to create balance. Okay, I'll move on. How long are we at right now? Ooh, this is a long video. Okay, the next one is fun. The Fae, like fairies, the Fae, dragons, and unicorns, all real. Okay. The Fae, dragons, unicorns, and many other beautiful beings, creatures, whatever you want to call them, all real, and all existed on Earth during Avalon. And that's where our fairy tales come from. Where else do you think these fairy tales came from? Why would so many authors and storytellers talk about dragons? Or why would so many talk about unicorns? Why would so many talk about the Fae or the elven beings? Because they're real, and because their history is on Earth. They were on Earth during that golden era time, during Avalon, right? During I really feel like it was a whole other golden era that was on Earth. And I do feel like it's older even than Lemuria in a way. I can't be certain, but I mean, if you study supercontinents, then you can see that there was a continent called Avalonia and that it happened pre-Lemuria. So because Earth goes through that cycle, there's many cycles that create a golden era. But anyway, that's a longer video. But I just wanted to say the Fae, the dragons, the unicorns, all real, all on Earth during Avalon, and that's where fairy tales come from. Okay. I have a point here that I forget what I meant by it. I just wrote down orbs. And I'm like, not exactly sure what I meant by orbs. So I know I have a lot of orb activity. Let me think about why I wrote that down. Oh, I know what it was. Oh my God. If you see an orb, okay, first of all, you're more likely to see orbs like this on camera. Like I see them all the time because I'm looking at the camera and the camera picks them up more than the human eye. And I'm not sure why, if that has to do with like light refraction or whatever. If you see an orb, talk to it. Did one literally just fly by my head as I just said that? Did anyone else see something went like across my bun here? I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking it did. If you see an orb, talk to it. It's a conscious and sentient being visiting you. It can't visit in a physical form because that's really difficult for higher beings. Like, what if it's an angel or like a higher dimensional being? They can't come here and be physical, but they can come in smaller ways. And so if you see, it's probably a guide of yours. If you see that, or it might be a nature spirit or a fae, it could be a lot of things, depends where you are, but you can tune in and see what it is. But if you talk to it, it's more likely to interact with you further. Like I've seen one that went away and I said, "Oh, hi little orb, come back." And I actually literally saw it turn around and come back and go by this way. I was like, oh, like, it's just so cool. So I just really love the whole, I think maybe that's one of the ones that I should do a full length video on is orbs. Anyway. Okay, the next and last point, we're almost there. I hear Orion crying, my puppy, so I need to get going. The last point is that most star seeds, like 99.99999%, most of these, if you consider yourself a star seed, like you're pretty much guaranteed that you volunteered to be here. Like, what? Yes, you did. And you have a mission. You have an Earth mission, right? There's a reason that you came to Earth. Yes, there's things that you're receiving, which is like all of these lessons that we've been talking about and lots of karma balancing and beautiful things, healing. But you're also here to give, right? You're not here just to get all the good stuff. You're also here to give. And so you have a mission. That mission is, your Earth mission, is for you to use your gifts in service. And that's it. It's so simple. But the thing is, people don't know what their gifts are. So it's really important to discover what your gifts are. That was an orb. Hello, orb. Please feel free to come back. Discover what your gifts are. Master your gifts. And then go ahead and use those gifts in service. And so that's why Starseed Academy, that's the things I'm the most passionate about. I have this really beautiful signature program called Psychic Light, where I literally teach people how to do exactly that. Discover their gifts. I take them through it as a beautiful, like, intimate group, discovering our gifts together and then mastering those gifts. I teach soul gifts. In that course, I teach how to speak the language of the clairs, very in-depth. We spend a whole month just on the clairs. Then we spend a whole month on channeling. So learning automatic writing, which is written channeling, spoken channeling, trans channeling, how to do a professional reading. Like, it's so amazing. Channeling is like so beneficial for pretty much every single career that I've ever seen, whether you're a healer, a coach, a mentor. It like takes your service to the next level. And then the last month of that course, I'm teaching people all about light language, soul language, Akashic records, how to access them, we do it together, how to do it for yourself or someone else, or a collective timeline Akash, and also astral travel. So there's just so much, and there's group readings throughout as well. It's such a beautiful experience. And, it really, really helps set people on to that mission, because the first step is discover what your gifts are and then master those gifts. And then we follow that up with my secondary program, which we don't have to get into. It's CEO of Light, and it's how to then take those gifts and build a business with those gifts at the foundation, right? So that you can truly be of service, unplug from the 9 to 5. That is like the fastest way to like escalate your awakening. Anyway, I'm going to leave it all there. I just wanted to mention that because there is a brand new round of Psychic Light starting on August 16th. Now, I do have limited spaces because I really like to keep the classes intimate. It's important so that everybody can get like time with me. But something really exciting about this round that starts August 16th is that I have recently certified the course. So that means that you get this really gorgeous certificate at the end of Psychic Light that you can use on all your socials, your website, I mean, your home office, frame it, whatever. It's beautiful. I created it and it's gorgeous. So if anybody here is feeling resonant to that, you're really feeling like, I do feel like some gifts are starting to poke through. I'm really feeling like, maybe you feel like you have a mission, but you don't know what it is. Wherever you're at with that, I want to personally invite you to click on the link in the description box that says Psychic Light and just go check out the curriculum. If you just read the curriculum and you see like what we're doing every single lesson, I have it fully laid out, then you can tune into that and you can see, like, tune in and see, is that for me? Like, am I getting a soul nudge as I'm reading the curriculum? Am I feeling like that's my next step to take? And I think that you should trust yourself in those kinds of things. In fact, you should do that with everything. Like before you go to invest with someone or something, just really tune in with your heart and be like, does this feel good? Does this make me feel like I want to open up versus closing? Does this feel like it has a lot of life force in it versus feeling kind of empty or cold? Does this feel like a soul nudge? And a soul nudge can feel like a little heart flutter, a little excitement, or a little like excitement with a splash of fear. You can get physical sensations, or you can get a deep knowing, this is it for me. I know this is my next step. So personal invitation there for you all to go and check out the curriculum. If you have any questions at all that you need, some clarification on after you visit the page of Psychic Light, where I have like a full description of what's included and all that. If you still have questions, please feel free to come and message me. I'm very active over on Instagram, so it might be the easiest place for me to see it. So I invite you to come on over to Instagram. You can find me easily, Starseed Academy, and just DM me and let me know kind of like where you're at with it, or if you have any questions. But do it soon, because August 16th is going to be here before you know it. And I cannot wait to do this next round. This is going to be like my 4th or 5th round of Psychic Light. And it's just so cool that it's certified now. Like I just feel like, oh, it's such a verifiable course now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. If you're still here at the end, I'm sorry this went so long. I can't stop talking. My videos are so long because I cannot stop talking. And it's like, I try to keep them like 20 minutes. Yeah, never. But I just appreciate you all so much. So thank you. Go check out the links for the membership in Psychic Light. Don't forget to subscribe. And please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within. Because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful starseeds. Have a great day. Bye.